Welcome to Dialogue with Death. My name is Ayesha Ophelia. I am the creator of the Girlfriend Manifesto as well as this ritual. Death Becomes Her is a ritual for letting go, getting comfortable with change, thresholds, or going into the unknown, and accepting the beauty and the struggle of the natural human cycle, which includes death. For me, death is ultimately an energy. It's an energy of transformation. It's a catalytic boom that creates a vacuum or an empty space for us to come and fill it with more spirit, with more of ourselves, with more of who we are and what we want to be in this world. So as painful and as unsupported as death is, this is something that has been called into my life because of the many deaths that I have witnessed, held space for, and been changed by. So this ritual is a download. It is something that was given to me so that I could share with you. So why a ritual about death? Let's talk about it for a second, because it's not something that's often talked about, and it is the great equalizer. It's what connects all of us. Even nature, we're constantly seeing nature change and evolve. It's just about to be fall where I am. So the leaves are literally dying and falling off the tree to give way for more energy to go into the roots and then start the cycle again. And so we are no different than a force like nature, except that there's not much support around thresholds, change. There's a doula for birth, and now there's actually doulas for death. And there's doulas for those moments where we are forced to go into the unknown. We're leaving a marriage. It's the death of a marriage. We are leaving a career. It's the death of the life that we thought we were going to have doing that. By the time we reach a certain age, Clarissa Pinkola Estes calls it decasnos. They are the many moments that need to be marked with a burial that are a part of a woman's life. And so this ritual is giving us a time and a space to integrate this energy of transformation, this energy that is probably going to visit us hundreds of times in our life. It's an energy of change and transformation so we can give birth to something new. There's an element of trust that has to be there. There's an element of actual physicality, knowing how to breathe into our discomfort. And so this ritual is going to invite us into a space where all of those things can happen in an imaginal realm, in a safe space where we can gather and transform. So let's talk about what a ritual is. A ritual is a set of steps that's going to guide us through an experience that we want to have in our bodies and in our minds. It's going to help us integrate a truth. A ritual has a start, a middle, and an end. And in that time, we consecrate ourselves. We give ourselves the intention to become and to merge with this ritual. So as we enter the ritual space, there's just a few things that we want to remember. And it's that we want to give ourselves wholeheartedly to this time. So you want to eliminate as many distractions as possible. If you can be in a space where you can close the door and kind of go inward and be with yourself, that's really important. And as we set up the ritual, I'm just going to show you how I set up the ritual, and you can do the same. Death is a very uncomfortable topic. There are many of us who have yet to experience a close death to us. There are many of us who know that as we go through transitions where we're asked to release and let go, what a struggle that is and what it can bring up in us. And ultimately, a lot of spiritual traditions believe that the reason we struggle at these transitions in life is because we haven't come to a sense, the ultimate sense, that there is a life cycle involved and that we will one day not be in these bodies. We will be returned to something that's hard to understand. And so if we make time to work with these uncomfortable things, just like every other uncomfortable conversation, what does it ultimately do? At least in my experience, it bonds me closer with the person that I'm having the conversation with, or it makes it clear that there needs to become some boundary. But a breakthrough happens. And so just a warning for those who are going to do this ritual, we will be in an imaginal realm where we will be imagining the end of our life. This can bring up all kinds of feelings and all kinds of sensations, everything from discomfort to tears, to physical sensations in the body. All of this is normal. You know how they say the issues are in our tissues? Our body holds so much information. And as we move through some of this discomfort, space is created. Death always creates space. Death is a vacuum. It's a catalytic event. If we walk ourselves through this, we're inevitably going to make more space. But we will have to move through some of our own projections and fears and unfinished communications. It's all going to put us into a feeling state. So just know that this is normal. If it becomes too intense, you can break this up into sections. If you still can't finish it, consult a friend, consult a mental health professional, and know that I'm here. I'm here in spirit. I've walked through many a death and want to guide people into this safe space where they can experience something tough, but come out on the other side with a wealth of information and a space to create the kind of lives that they want to create. So you got this. There's a quote I'd love to share with you before we get into the meditation. Life is a series of cycles, a continuous unfolding pattern of the life, rebirth spirals that possess the power to carry us deeper into the feminine soul and feminine spirit. Unless we accept the dying embers from each passage of life, we cannot create sufficient space for new initiations to commence. So again, we're creating this spaciousness. And as we begin this meditation, know that you are safe. I will begin with you on screen just as I am, and then slowly the screen will fade to black as you close your eyes and fully immerse yourself into this inward experience. So my words will be here to guide you the entire time. This is the portion where you'll need your yoga mat. I want you to be lying comfortably. If you're a yoga practitioner, this is the Shavasana part of the practice of the ritual. So I'm going to turn my camera off in just a moment. I'd love for you to feel warm too. So if you need to put a blanket around your shoulders, just get as comfortable as you can and get ready for my voice to guide you. Before I begin, I'd like to pay homage to the many sources that inspired this meditation and this ritual, including my mom. I'll put a little photo of her up here, and my own experience with the death of my mother, the death of a lifelong family pet, in fact, a few, as well as a meditation by Anna T. Forrest. She does a death meditation. The 9 Contemplations of Death, which I added one to. It's from an ancient Buddhist text, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, passages by Mark Nepo. The quote above was by Joan Halifax, Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and the beauty of life, the beauty of nature. It's all informed this practice. So just getting comfortable, and the next voice you will hear is mine, guiding you deeper. Just begin taking some big, deep breaths. Making sure that your body is comfortable. Knowing that you are safe as we go into an imaginal realm and consider death. If tears come up, let them come. Grief solidified in the body turns into inflexibility. Grief released turns into space, which can be filled with joy, understanding, empathy, and love. All of these things are going to help us at every threshold of change. And ultimately, this practice is just becoming comfortable with all that we do not know, the sacred mysteries of life. So we're just going to take a round of 3 deep breaths in through the belly and out audibly through the mouth. Make sure that you sigh it out. Taste the breath. Feel the tendrils of air moving in and out of the body. Know that in this imaginal space you are safe, protected, and held. Imagine a shield of protection around your body. Give it a color, a shape, and a purpose during this ritual. There's so much mystery around life and death, so many unexplainable things. As we open more to that mystery, we can be held more in our space of not knowing. So in this practice, your best friend will be your sacred breath. Use it as much as you need. Your second best friend will be my voice. When discomfort comes, breathe deeply into it, your body, and just trust. With each subsequent breath in and out, feel the aliveness in your body. Maybe place a hand over your heart and feel it beating. 100 years from now, everyone you love, including yourself, will not be here. Breathe into the discomfort. There are 10 contemplations that remind us about the nature of life and death. Please consider them deeply. Contemplation number 1. All of us will die sooner or later. Even though it may be difficult for you to realize that someday you will die, there is no question that you will be met by death sooner or later. There is no way around it. No one can prevent death. Death is the outcome of birth. It is inevitable. Not a single sentient being, no matter how spiritually evolved, powerful, wealthy, or motivated, has escaped death. The Buddha, Jesus, Mother Mary, and Muhammad did not escape death, nor will you or I. All the gifts of your life, education, wealth, status, strength, fame, gender, friends, and family will make no difference at the moment of your death. In fact, many of the circumstances can make dying harder because we hang on to them. Death is the great equalizer, something we all have in common with all that is. Deep breath. Look at your life. What are you doing right now that'll help you die? Please consider this and observe your response to this question. Then remind yourself, death is inevitable. I too will die. Repeat this statement to yourself. On the in-breath, death is inevitable. On the out-breath, I too will die. When the mind wanders away from this contemplation of the inevitability of death, call it back. Do not lose this opportunity to realize that you cannot avoid your death. You might resist by drifting in thought or turning to fantasy. Bring your attention to this contemplation that you will die, that each being precious to you will die, that each person and each creature now on earth will die. Watch what the mind may do to escape this very simple fact. Death is inevitable. Can you face the truth? Can you feel it in your body, your blood, your bones? Can you know it in your breath? The inevitability of death pervades every cell in your body. Please do not forget this. Death is inevitable. This is the first contemplation. Big deep breath in. Sigh it out. Contemplation number 2. Your lifespan is decreasing continuously. Your lifespan lessens every moment that you live. There is this moment of your birth and then the time of your death. Life flows for better or worse between these 2 points of change. Your movement towards death never stops. Every breath you take in and give out brings you closer to this destruction and rebirth that we call death. Every word that you speak, every thought that you have brings you nearer to death. Every step that you take brings you closer to your so-called final resting place. Now consider this deeply. If you knew that in 12 hours you would be dead, what would you do now? For the last 12 hours of your life, breathe that in. Feel the truth and the transformative power of death. All the plans, all the things you've been waiting to do in the future, they're gone. Maybe you were planning on becoming a teacher or a pilot or a lawyer or a yoga, or maybe you wanted a mate or a child. Maybe you are finally healed enough to allow yourself to love. But now it's too late for all that. Feel that. In the midst of that feeling, taste how precious each moment now becomes that you have so few of them left. Take a very deep breath and savor it fully. This is one of your last breaths. Feel the death of your hopes and dreams, everything you were getting ready for. As you sit here feeling that death, that loss, what are your regrets? All the ways you were going to live your life, all the dreams you were waiting to live. What were the promises that you made to yourself or your loved ones that you can no longer keep because your time is almost over? Think of all the feelings you normally keep shut away because you have to function, or there's nothing left to function for anymore. Be brave enough to feel fully now without any guard, because these are the last few feelings you get to have. Take another deep breath, feeling your regrets, your loss, feeling just how precious your life truly is. This is the second contemplation. Contemplation number 3. Death will come whether you are prepared or not. Life is short, and most of us will meet our death without having strengthened our awareness of our true nature. How much time do you spend training, strengthening, and stabilizing your mind? When death comes, do you think that you can negotiate with it for more time? Please ask yourself, how do you spend your time? What really is important for you to do with this precious human life? We spend so much time eating, drinking, grooming, playing, working, sleeping. We conduct business, make and spend money, and tend our relationships. When we are dying, we might wonder, what have I done with my life? Most of us are doing so little to prepare ourselves for the inevitable. So just breathing in and breathing out, stay connected to your breath, to the reality of death coming closer. As you feel this, ask yourself, what am I still withholding? What is behind my inhibitions? Am I waiting for the right time to feel fully or express myself fully? Why? Think about all the rules that have kept you from doing what your spirit yearns for. And now it's too late. This contemplation, reminding us that death will come whether we are prepared or not, encourages us to take care of life now and prepare for death. This is the third contemplation. Contemplation number 4. Your lifespan, like that of all living beings, is not fixed. Consider the many beings who have died on this day. How many of them really thought they were about to die? There is an essential uncertainty about the time of your death. Do you really think that you know how much time you have left? Please consider this. Death can come at any moment. You could die this afternoon. You could die tomorrow morning. You could die on your way to work. You could die in your sleep. Most of us try to avoid the sense that death can come at any time, but the timing of death is unknown to us all. Just breathe into the mystery. Can you live each day as if it were your last? Can you listen to one another, relate to one another, as if there is no tomorrow? Are you ready to die? Abide in the cycle of your in-breath and out-breath, remembering that death can come at any moment. You do not know how long this lifespan will be. Just breathe in and breathe out. And in this imaginal space, as the time ticks down on our own death and strips us of our delusions of immortality, ask yourself, what are the ways I've sabotaged myself? Just check in with your body and see if you feel a sensation. And what are you finally ready to be honest about? Now is all you have. This is the fourth contemplation. Your lifespan isn't guaranteed. Live today. Contemplation number 5. Death has many causes. There are so many ways to die. The causes of death are infinite, and none of them are shameful. You can die because of a storm or an accident. You can die of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, old age, and so forth. You can die of fear. You can even die of a broken heart. Even if you have been diagnosed with a so-called terminal illness, it may not be the cause of your death. Watch what happens in your mind when you contemplate the truth that death can come through so many doors. Do you try to avoid this thought? Or are you able to consider the possibilities? There are many conditions that bring death, and the forces that sustain life are few. Recall the dead leaves of a tree that need to fall off and turn to compost to feed its roots. What in your life needs to break off and die in order for you to live more freely? Maybe it's an eating disorder, abuse, an illness, your pain, a bad relationship. What things have been eating your life force like a parasite? Are you going to continue to feed these energies up until your last breath? Ask yourself what in your life needs to break off and die so you can live freely. All life ends in death one way or another. Consider this fifth contemplation that death has many causes. Contemplation number 6. Your body is fragile and vulnerable. When you are young, you may feel as if you will live forever. Growing older, seeing other people die, you may know differently. Life hangs by a breath. Breathe in. After this next exhalation, consider the possibility that you might not be able to inhale. When the wind has gone from your nostrils and the breath no longer enters your body, then your lifespan has ended and you will die. Look deeply at this truth. Say to yourself, as strong as humans are, life is also so fragile and is completely dependent on my breath. So enjoy these breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, my life depends on this inhalation. Breathing out, my life depends on this exhalation. Can you allow yourself to really know that your life is dependent on the next breath? What have you taken for granted in light of this new, deeper awareness? Inhalation, my life depends on this in-breath. Exhalation, my life depends on this out-breath. Really consider how vulnerable this body is. What does your mind do when you remember this? Does knowing how vulnerable and fragile you are turn your mind towards living? Does it deepen your experience? Place a hand on a part of the body that you especially want to thank. Breathe into the entire body and feel the weight of what a beautiful experience it is to be living inside of your skin. The sixth contemplation is a reminder to consider this human body. Your life is literally hanging by a breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Contemplation number 7. Your loved ones cannot keep you from death. It is only natural to turn to friends and family at the time of your dying. However, the people whom you love cannot keep death from you, and these strong attachments may produce sorrow and clinging, which make dying more difficult. Your loved ones are essentially helpless and powerless in the face of your dying. No matter how kind and adept your friends might be, ultimately they cannot prevent your death, and you cannot do the same for them. There is nothing they can do for you at the moment of your death. Death will simply prevail. Look at this truth deeply. Since your friends will not be able to stop death from taking you, ask yourself, what is really going to help at the moment of your death? What are your unfinished communications? What did you want to say or to write to your loved ones, to the people who touched your heart or broke it? What are the communications you need to complete before you die, to those who hurt you, those you hate, those you love? Later, you will have the opportunity to write down anything you wish you could say to those people. Be 100% honest. Your loved ones cannot keep you from death. This is the 7th contemplation. 8th contemplation. At the moment of your death, your material resources are not of use to you. Imagine yourself on your deathbed. You are growing weaker and more frail by the moment. You have spent your entire life earning money, accumulating material possessions. You have a beautiful house, a nice car, jewelry, and fine clothes. On the threshold of death, what good are these things to you? Every single penny, every single item must be left behind. Houses, bank accounts, art objects, fine wines, beautiful clothing, expensive jewelry, all the comforts that you work so hard for, you have to leave behind. They will be utterly useless to you when you are on the threshold of death. In some sense, they are worse than useless. They are impediments to fully surrendering to death, to allowing yourself to letting go. In order to die in peace, you will have to let go of everything. In considering this, can you see yourself clinging to these things that make up part of your story and your identity? Consider that all your cherished objects, all your money, will be in some way or another redistributed at the time of your death. Everything that you have accumulated over so many years will be given away to friends and relatives. Some of it may end up in a thrift store or junk pile. You can take nothing with you. Now ask yourself, what is a sound investment to make in this life? What will be really important at the moment of my death? Material possessions will not help. On the in-breath, consider this. On the out-breath, know what it is to release the breath and attachment to all that you possess. What material things are keeping you chained? Feel into this question for just a moment. This is the 8th contemplation, that your material resources will be of no use to you at the moment of your death. Contemplation 9. Your own body cannot help you at the time of death. You have spent so much time working on your body, feeding it, watering it, exercising it, dressing it, and undressing it. beautifying it, enjoying it, and not enjoying it. You may spend hours just thinking about your body, viewing it in a mirror, evaluating its appearance, trying to make it look younger and more beautiful. Then what happens? It dies on you anyway. Since your conception and birth, this body has been your constant companion, sometimes a friend, sometimes a foe. You have experienced so much pain in it and so much pleasure. You treasure it, you despise it, and at the moment of your death, you lose it. This is not to say that you should neglect this body. At this moment, can you feel your dependence on your body, your attachment to your body? Can you see how holding on to your body at the time of your dying might torment you? Imagine what it might be like just before you die. You realize that you are losing your money, your friends, your loved ones, your status, your job, and at the moment of your death, in an instant, you will also lose your body. Consider this: abiding in the in-breath and abiding in the out-breath. Remember that even your body cannot help you at the time of your death. Can you understand how others may feel who are facing their deaths? Can you feel compassion for yourself and for others? What is really important for you in light of this truth that we cannot hold on to this body when we die? What can you do to strengthen your awareness and your capacity to surrender and to let go? Everything we do in this imaginal realm is shadow work. What can you do to make it more possible to be really present for yourself or another who is facing the loss of anything? This is the ninth contemplation. Your body is just like the seed who will be planted, grow into full bloom, drop its petals, and return again to seed. Your body cannot help you evade the natural laws. Contemplation number 10. Death is as mysterious as life. We have accepted a lot of truths about the nature of life that death laughs at. How little we know and how truly little faith we have that in death we may not be reborn back into the same loving energy that creates life. What makes us so sure that we aren't living in a dream? If this was a dream and you could dream any life you want before returning back to the true reality, what changes would you make? What chances would you take? How would you live life if you were unburdened by endings? Can you look once again to nature to see how every ending is truly a new beginning? Scientists even agree that energy cannot be destroyed, simply transmuted. Maybe you even know someone or have made contact with someone on the other side. Drink in the mystery and find yourself still there. Drink in the blackness and understand it as possibility. Sense yourself as separate from nothing. You have been and always will be. You are alive. These are the 10 contemplations. Death is inevitable. Our lifespan is decreasing continuously. Death will come regardless of whether we are prepared for it. Human life expectancy is uncertain. Death has many causes. The human body is fragile and vulnerable. Our friends cannot save us from death. Our material resources cannot help us at the moment of our death. Our own body cannot help us at the time of our death. And ultimately, we know so little to be so fearful and judgmental about the energy of transmutation. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes in this space of the void to soak in all the truth you have found in this meditative practice. Now begin to slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes and maybe stretch, just bringing energy back into the body, thanking the body for being with you, thanking the mystery, knowing that whenever we endeavor to do this shadow work, we create spaciousness for more life. And we get accountable. We give our body a lived experience of letting go, of trusting. You can stay here for as long as you like. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the video or come back to your PDF to finish the ritual. Namaste. So welcome back. Welcome back to this time and this space. How do you feel? Maybe you feel wrung out. Maybe you feel tired. Maybe there's a sense of elation. However you feel, make space for that to be the perfect way to feel. Everyone gets the exact experience they need in all areas of life, especially ritual spaces. So I'm going to leave you some time to journal and connect with the questions in the PDF. The rest of the ritual is outlined there. If you like, you will burn your descansos. You'll return that ash to the earth and you will close the circle. So before I bid you farewell, I just want to say thank you for coming into this space. Thank you for endeavoring to do work that is inevitably going to make us feel uncomfortable. It takes a real heart warrior. It takes a real person who's ready to look at their shadow, who's ready to look at their light, who's ready to look at everything in between. I hope and pray that this has planted a seed, created an impetus, shown you something about yourself that you needed to see. If you'd like to connect more with me, I'm going to leave my information on the next screen, and enjoy the rest of the ritual.